An episode split awkwardly in three. This missive, this machination, nonetheless features powerful character moments for Mark, Debbie, and the returning Alan, the delightful alien Cyclops voiced by Seth Rogen, before ending on a major cliffhanger. Despite slamming the brakes on several occasions, it's the first episode of Season 2 to propel the plot forward in distinctive ways, setting up what will hopefully be a major coming-of-age turning point in next week's mid-season finale. Mark and his girlfriend Amber are off to college, denoting an actual break from the show's norm and providing the leads with time to further reflect on Nolan Omni-Man's betrayal. For Mark, it's a chance to start anew if he chooses to room with his best friend William. For Debbie, it's a difficult moment of isolation, compelling her to take up her friend Olga on her offer of seeking help via a secret phone number that turns out to be for a superhero spouse's support group. Sandra provides a distinctive vocal texture to Debbie's difficult moments, including ones where she reacts only semi-verbally, like the realization that crying this much might have aged her complexion. It's a damn fine performance, especially when Debbie ping-pongs between having found a safe space to discuss her trauma and realizing that one of the support group members, Theo David Diggs, was married to a hero that Nolan murdered. Not only does this realization nausea her, but letting the cat out of the bag leads to her becoming the object of Theo's rage. It's a deeply human story unfolding amidst all the alien and superhero bombast. As is Mark's first day at college, during which he tries to navigate his lingering despondency with childhood, comforts like his poster and action figure of Seance Dog, a fictitious canine send-up of Doctor Strange, before taking a larger step into an adult world. With Amber's roommate set to arrive the next day, the couple decides to finally have sex, navigating not only the awkwardness of one's first time, but the idea that Mark's superpowers might prove unpredictable mid-coitus. However, the way this missive, this machination, concocts excuses to cut away from this scene speaks to the show's inescapable juvenile quality, proving yet again that this season isn't as concerned as its predecessor with subverting superhero tropes. Rather, it leans into the genre's status quo, often to a fault. The impact of these characters' physiques, outfits, and even traumas on their sexual psyche and physicality is a vital part of their development. But rather than holding on or even hinting towards these things, a narrator nervously fumbles his way through a cutaway gag as the episode switches focus to Alan in outer space. The Earthbound subplot involving Rexplode and Duplicate involves sex as well, but as an incidental plot point surrounding their mistrust as the former lovers bicker over Kate sleeping with the 1,000-year-old immortal. It drags, repeating the exact same conflict it introduced last week, but at least we get a fun Shapesmith punchline when he tries and fails to use a treadmill. Meanwhile, the adjacent story of Robot and Monster Girl, adults in young teenage bodies, going on a movie date together is sweet, especially given Robot's inexperience, but the show seems to avoid the thornier implications of their mind-body disconnect once more. The Alan-centric middle section arrives with its own opening title card and its own closing credits for a couple of seconds. It's a bizarre gimmick, since the latter might cause viewers to switch the episode off about 20 minutes too early, but the story mostly works on its own, as we catch up on what Invincible's alien buddy has been up to, assisting a galactic council, the coalition of planets, to form a plan against Viltrum's incursions, while he engages in a sweet but secretive romance with his superior, the blue-skinned, tentacled Telia. The episode gives us a brief glimpse into Alan's past, as a descendant of a species nearly wiped out by the Viltrumites, whose people genetically bred him to fight them. Unfortunately, it also pulls the same trick it does with Mark and Amber, and inelegantly avoids depicting on-screen sex, even though the show is more than content to portray severed limbs and disemboweling. A strange dichotomy long discussed in academia surrounding comics and superheroes, but one the series is all too comfortable aping. Eventually, Alan's encounter with a trio of Viltrumite envoys results in him being severely injured, This also leads to the seeming turncoat revelation of the Council's leader Thaddeus Optimus Prime himself, Peter Cullen, who, in an intriguing departure from his role in the comics, takes Alan off life support. Does this mean Alan is done for? Let's hope not, though it certainly seems that way for now. Does this mean Alan is done for? Let's hope not. This brings us back to Earth, not only for Debbie's most harrowing scenes, but for an extended Mark-centric epilogue, in which a living version of Seance dog Rob, Delaney arrives at his dorm and seeks his help. It's a fun promise of interdimensional and metatextual fun that is, unfortunately, undone rather quickly. Still, the story that lies beneath this ruse is intriguing too. The canine wizard is revealed to be an illusion courtesy of the praying mantis-like Nuolzot of the planet Thraxan, an alien civilization in apparent danger. Having heard of Invincible's adventures, he seeks the hero's help in saving his people, forcing Mark to choose between the novel sense of calm and belonging he's finally found in his human life and continuing his duties as a superhero. He takes the week-long trip to Thraxan after all, though unbeknownst to him, choosing to turn his back on personal fulfillment is about to have dire consequences. Nuolzot's ruse ran deeper than Mark had realized, because not only is the planet not in any danger, but Nolan appears to inexplicably be its king, and he calmly greets Mark in a way that leaves the door open to a multitude of outcomes. Is this really Nolan? Has he somehow been reformed? And most vitally, what impact will his appearance have on the peace Mark has found at school? The possibilities are exciting, despite an awkward structure and juvenile framing of sexual themes. The third episode of Invincible's new season provides forward momentum for each lead. The show hasn't quite ironed out its wrinkles in the ensemble subplot department, but they're easier to forgive this week, since both the Earthbound and galactic plots advance significantly while letting the characters breathe. It also ends on one hell of a welcome cliffhanger.